If you have been following me for a while, you'll know that I've been talking about incorporating metal into my woodworking projects for a really long time, but haven't had the means to invest in proper welding equipment. So I decided to start at the very beginning and work with aluminum and learn how to braze in order to create an aluminum base for my new coffee table. For this project, I partnered up with my friends at Brazing to teach you how to braze aluminum together in order to make a really cool coffee table frame. As always, you can find the full list of materials and products used in this project, as well as a step-by-step tutorial on my website by clicking on the link below this video. The first step in this process was to figure out how long I wanted my aluminum pieces to be, and I went ahead and measured and cut those pieces just using the wood blade on my miter saw. Aluminum is really soft, so you're going to be able to get a nice clean cut with a regular blade. After cutting all the aluminum pieces on my miter saw, I knew that I had to do a lot of prep work before getting excited about brazing. So the first thing I did is I used a metal file to file down all 4 ends of each of the frame pieces. I didn't have to do this on the leg pieces, and you'll see why in a little bit. I also made sure to use a wire brush in order to brush away any of the excess leftover metal that came off with the file. After prepping the aluminum, I went ahead and clamped these smaller frame pieces to the first 2 legs to create my first side of my coffee table base. I clamped those together and double-checked to make sure that everything was square prior to joining anything together. After clamping up my first side, it was time to braze, so I fired up my torch and began to heat the aluminum. Now, what I found out kind of the hard way in this situation was that I needed to get the aluminum hot enough to organically melt the brazing rod into the channel that I created with my file. If I applied the heat directly to the brazing rod, it would just crack or create a really weak joint. So this took a lot of patience, but it was really worth it in the end. Once that brazing rod melted into the channel, I applied a little bit of heat directly to the channel itself and then went ahead and just added the brazing to all 4 of the seams that hit the leg. I made sure to repeat this process on all 4 seams of every single piece that joins in order to make a really strong foundation for my table. I worked one side at a time, so after I finished this side of the frame, I moved on to the second side of the frame and then joined those 2 frames together using the long frame pieces. Even though I was wearing heat-resistant gloves, the aluminum got so hot that I couldn't even touch it, so I allowed it to cool down for a really long time before moving on to the next step. Once everything cooled down, I lightly sanded the aluminum frame to prep for paint. At this point, I also introduced the panel of the table, which was pre-made from a previous project, and I've linked that project up in the corner of this video so you can learn how to create your own top as well. I really went rough on this table because I wanted it to look rustic and beat up in order to contrast the industrial look of the aluminum base. After going full MMA fighter on the wood table, I then decided to add stain and finish to it as well. As the tabletop dried, I took some black spray paint and just sprayed the aluminum base. I tried a couple of methods for adding the aluminum frame to the actual tabletop, including countersinking some screws and also directly screwing the aluminum into the tabletop. I did find that screwing the aluminum directly into the tabletop actually worked a little better than trying to countersink. After building, I then installed the table in my apartment, and I'm super happy with the way it turned out. I mean, not really so bad for my first metalworking project. So if you're new to metalworking and don't know where to start, I guarantee that this will get you hooked. I'm definitely ready to move to the next step and to try my hand at some new metal projects. If you guys like this project and are interested in following more of my DIY journey, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching and happy DIYing.